That's right, folks. You're not dreaming. Future Trunks is indeed coming back to Dragon Ball in Dragon Ball Super. And on this video, I want to give you guys 10 funny scenes, awkward situations, and cool moments that we want to see from Future Trunks and his return to the Dragon Ball world.
I've come back from the future to warn you that if you don't subscribe to Geekdom 101, your future is grim.
10 things we want from Future Trunks in Dragon Ball Super is the name of the video, and you should know how it goes by now, guys. I pick 5 and my guest picks 5, and of course, down below in the comment section, let us know your 5, or your 1 or your 2 or your 4, or whatever ideas you have, or whatever funny scenes or cool scenes or badass scenes that you want to see from Future Trunks in Dragon Ball Super. I really want to get your thoughts. Of course, check out the video as well to hear our thoughts. And joining me to give his thoughts, he's got 5, I got 5. Please welcome back Real to Real.
Hey, Geekdom. Really nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
You all right, bro?
Yeah.
Oh, you're giggling. That's kind of weird, bro. All right. All right, so Future Trunks, very popular character, hasn't been in the Dragon Ball world since the end of the Cell arc, unless you count the video games, which I don't. And now he's back. Lots of changes from the Buu arc all the way to where we're at now. So we got 10 of them. What is your first thing that you want from Trunks from the future in Super?
I actually really would like to see Trunks meet Pan. And I know a lot of people might think Brawl, but she's not necessarily in the story just yet. And considering where Trunks actually left off Gohan, not only in the Cell arc, but also his own timeline, I think it would be really endearing for him to actually meet Gohan's daughter. And to know that Gohan actually grew up, had a family, and is very happy with his life, and is not necessarily the warrior that he remembers. But, you know, he's a father now. And I think that would be really awesome.
I've actually got a follow-up to that on one of mine, so we'll get to it. But I hope we don't see Trunks babysit Pam, because we've already gotten that in Super, so, you know. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe it'll be a fun moment. My number 5, or my number 1, that I want to see is I want to see Trunks' reaction when he finds out that 18 and Krillin are married. And the reason why I think it would be so funny is because when Trunks left for the future, even though he saw that Krillin and 18 had a thing going, I don't think he could ever imagine not only that they would actually hook up, but I don't know if he could even imagine that she's able to have kids. Even though, obviously, we found out that 17 and 18 were originally humans and they were converted into artificial humans or androids. Still, I don't think Trunks can even picture a life form as evil as her from his future, that is, having a child. And I think it would be great to just see his reaction, you know, to Krillin. How could you have a kid with 18? And then, you know, of course, he'll calm down and realize that, you know, she's not the same as the 18 from his timeline, and remember that difference.
Oh, yeah, and it would also be really interesting to see how he interacts with Marin to that. And maybe that would be the catalyst for him actually being okay with her. You know, how innocent and awesome Marin is to some degree.
I want to see more of the Krillin 18 parenting stuff. I love that stuff.
Yeah, like that slice of life stuff is amazing, and one of the only reasons they're awesome in this show. But okay, my next one actually is I want to see Goten essentially assume that Future Trunks is Kid Trunks' big brother and get mad at the fact that basically Trunks never told them that he had an older brother like he had with Gohan and everything, and just feel kind of upset with his best friend. I think that would be freaking hysterical.
That would be pretty awesome.
He's like, you never told me you had an older brother. He gets super mad.
Yeah, and then he gets to explain it to him. However, that does bring me to another point here that would be interesting. We've got 2 Trunks and we've got Goten and Gohan, roughly not the same age, but probably around the same height, unless they actually decide to age Goten and Trunks, which I don't think they would just yet. And I think it would be interesting to see how they would combat, you know, and also, you know, and we'll get to this a little bit later, but people are already salivating at the possibility of Trunks fusing with Gohan and doing Gohunks or whatever. I think that would get fans to go nuts, and that would be a great scene too. So yeah, that would be a cool little family thing as well. Now my next one is I want to see Trunks training under Whis. And why not? Goku and Vegeta did. Gohan, as of this recording, has not yet. He's more focused on being a father. Why not have Trunks, who's already pretty strong and already really has no family that we know of? Why not have him train under Whis, maybe even unlock some God Ki and learn some techniques?
No, I think that would be really awesome, especially if, like you said, if Gohan might even join him, that would be something pretty epic for the entire series.
Yes, indeed.
My next one is actually I want future Trunks, to come back and see basically the entire character development we've seen from Vegeta in this entire series. I mean, this series is kind of really focused on Vegeta being a little bit more of a family man. Obviously, he has a better relationship with Bulma and with Trunks than we've seen in past iterations of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. So I actually, if he were to come back and he were to see the admiration and the respect that Kid Trunks actually has for Vegeta, I think that would really help Trunks actually, because we left him at the end of the Cell arc with this whole Vegeta isn't what I expected, but he is he's a noble guy who does protect. He has this idea that he might want to protect Trunks and Bulma going forward in his timeline, and for him to come back and actually see that that's actually what's been panning out, and Vegeta's become a better father than he ever really knew, would be something that I think Trunks would be really happy to see and be really satisfying for us as an audience. Really pay off that Vegeta character development that we've gotten.
Yeah, and I think it would be great if maybe Bulma told him about the whole "that's my Bulma" and then see kind of his reaction and be surprised about it. I love it. I think a lot of fans would like that actually. That could be an easy people would love that one. My number 3 is pure comedy. Obviously, we know that Trunks is the first time traveler that we see in Dragon Ball. Obviously, he's not the first one to attempt to create a time machine. In fact, the first one to attempt to do it was Omori from the Jocko manga. So what if Trunks meets Jocko? I think this would be great. I think that Jocko trying to arrest Trunks or possibly making a joke that he's going to arrest him, but he's going to ignore it like he did with Whis and some other guys. I think it would be great to have Trunks and Jocko interacting because, time travel is a violation of the Galactic Patrol rules, and Trunks has violated that rule like 3 times pretty much already, or 4 times or whatever, if you count both ways. He left, he went back, he came back, went back, came back. 6 times he's traveled through time, not including, of course, the video games. So I think that would be fantastic to see. What is your number 4?
My number 4 is actually something that is kind of implied through what Toriyama and everyone have said about Future Trunks. The fact that he actually comes to this timeline, the main timeline, actually barely escaping with his life despite how strong he is. I want for Trunks, out of everyone, to not be able to face Bulma. Because if we think about Trunks' timeline and where Trunks is in that particular timeline, Bulma, if he hasn't had any kids or any family, Bulma is the only one left that he actually has to protect and care for and everything. And if he's coming because something was so dangerous that only he escapes, barely with his life, then Bulma's dead in that timeline.
And that's what it sounds like, yeah, as morbid as that may sound.
Yeah, Bulma's dead in that timeline. And to face the one person that you kind of swore to protect in this timeline, being the only one who could and you couldn't, there's an emotional roller coaster just waiting to happen there, and just see how Trunks interacts with Bulma, because we do know that Bulma's gotten a whole lot of screen time in Super, and this might be the payoff for that, where she's actually dead in the future, and we have Trunks having to interact and learn how to basically not only forgive himself, but for her to kind of forgive him and all that interaction. So, yeah.
I wonder if Trunks will make a comment about how young Bulma looks in Dragon Ball Super, because she's just de-aged so much in Resurrection F and beyond. I wonder if he'll make a comment about that. But then again, Trunks himself looks young, so maybe that's the whole thing. Maybe that's the whole joke, is that maybe Trunks now and the Briefs family, I suppose, whatever you want to call them, I guess that they don't age a lot or whatever. Even though Bulma, yeah,
it would be great to see him go like, "Oh man, these years of peace have been good to you," and then she gets mad because apparently she wasn't as young looking when she was in the future.
That's, I don't know, a good point. I mean, she looked like an old hag in the Boo Saga, so I think she quit smoking and she was okay. All right, my number 2 is a big one. Trunks meeting adult Gohan. Now, you alluded to it earlier about the Pan thing. I think that Trunks' reaction to Gohan's going to be very mixed. I think he's going to wonder, okay, wait a minute. You're this great warrior I remember from the future. First of all, you have 2 arms. That's great. No, it only happened in the anime when you saw it happen. But also, he's, maybe Trunks did see it in the manga, but it wasn't on the panel. Like it was explained better in the anime version of the events. But nonetheless, he's going to wonder, why the hell did you get so weak? Because I'm not saying that Gohan is weaker than he was during the Cell game. We really don't know that for a fact, but you would think that Gohan would be a lot stronger. So I think Trunks interacting with Gohan would be great. Also, I'm not gonna lie, I would not mind it if future Trunks fused with adult Gohan. They're about the same height. They can probably match up the power levels if Trunks trains a little bit more, maybe. So I would not mind seeing that fusion. And I know that people want fusions real bad. I think that would be a good one and a good use of Trunks. I mean, the one thing I don't want them to do with this Trunks comeback is to ruin it. I don't want that. What is your number one?
Actually, I just want to kind of go off on that real quick in terms of, we talked about off air that basically Trunks would be coming back for Gohan at this point, wouldn't he? Not for Goku or Vegeta, because Gohan is the strongest that he remembers in that timeline.
Because that's right. When Trunks left at the end of the Cell arc, Gohan was the guy who got the job done, and Goku was dead. He doesn't know any better.
Yeah. So he's probably coming back for Gohan, not for Goku. But okay, my number one is something I feel would be like a really emotional character moment, something that a lot of people have been arguing or whatever for a long time. And that's essentially at the very end of the arc, or after they get everything done, future Trunks actually gives Kid Trunks his sword before he goes back. And I know there's like a lot of debates on like, where did future Trunks and Kid Trunks get their sword? But honestly, take away all that, just having the emotional moment with this character development, like we talked about, Kid Trunks and future Trunks having this brotherly bond to some degree, and have him actually give him the sword away before he leaves, would be a very emotional moment for Kid Trunks.
Yeah, and before anybody says anything about Tapion, Tapion was from a Dragon Ball Z movie, and that does not fit with the regular continuity. Then again, Super has issues fitting with the continuity too, but what happened in the Dragon Ball Z movie 13 is not exactly what can happen in the series. So essentially what you're kind of saying is that even though Tapion somewhat took the spiritual role of being Trunks, future Trunks in movie 13, and if you don't believe me, watch that movie and pay attention, he kind of is like the future Trunks replacement. You're basically saying replace the replacement with the original guy. In other words, have a similar relationship that Trunks had with Tapion in this series. And by the way, before anybody says anything, it's Tapion, not Tapion. Once again, the dub, Rayleigh, Saiyan, Tapion. Don't say I'm a pronunciation Nazi, because I don't care how you say it, but don't leave stupid comments about me saying it wrong, because Rayleigh, Saiyan, and Tapion is wrong. It's Tapion. But you know what I'm saying. Like, I think that's what you're basically saying, is that Trunks becomes that role, like the big brother.
I mean, essentially, if Trunks goes and stays in that timeline, I essentially believe he's going to kind of take on that role. Exactly. He's going to be the person who's basically aloof to everyone. I'm sure he's seen some shit. I mean, if he didn't already see some shit, if he's coming back for any reason, this guy has seen some more shit. And he is going to leave everyone. He might not be able to face Bulma. He might have some endearing things with Gohan, Pan, and Vegeta, even Kid Trunks. But this guy is basically going to avoid anyone at this point. He is not going to leave. He's going to stay. And he's not going back to his time this time. It's basically what happens if he had stayed after beating Frieza. This guy is going to be depressive, and people are going to have to come to him to figure out what's going on, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. My number one, total fan service, but I could see it happening. People are going to love this one. Trunks goes Super Saiyan Blue. I mean, why not? Have him train with Whis. It won't even be that long. Goku and Vegeta can help him tap into his God Ki. He's been fighting all his life, so he arguably can have more training than most people. I think people want to see this. I think that people would be excited to see this, and I think it would be cool to see. Trunks going SS Blue. I think it would be cool. That's really it.
Yeah, I mean, that would be awesome, essentially, but that would definitely end the argument of whether or not half Saiyans can go Super Saiyan God to begin with, but that's neither here nor there at this point.
Yeah, that argument was started by the fans. It's not stated anywhere in any of the material that even half-breeds can't do it. That's not stated anywhere, but we'll find out for sure. So anyways, guys, check out Reel to Reel Productions channel. I'll leave the link in the description, and of course, leave your comments down below what you want from future Trunks. Thank you, Reel to Reel.
Thank you.
All right, and let us know down below. We'll talk to you then.